Allow yourself to be receptive to things being different. I like this. So, hello, Capricorn. SeaGoat Secrets. Hi Capricorn. So I am Kristen and I am a healer. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of Capricorn energy for the month of September and how it pertains to your love life. I begin with the astrology and I end with a card reading. If at any point in this video you feel connected to me and you would like to become a client of mine, you can do so by joining this link here and in the bio. I welcome you. And last but not least, you guys know I am a global citizen and I love connecting with all of you on a worldly and global level. So if you have not already, let me know where you're listening from in the comments and we can all connect and be a strong collective. Now, with all that being said, let's get into this. Hi, Capricorn. So I have been saying this in all of the monthlies, but there has been a change when it comes to booking, and all of the booking is moving to my personal website, kristensimone.com, and all of you who are part of the client circle know that you have a portion, your portal, your client portal is a part of my personal website. Everything is going to be navigated there and it is finished, but something happened on the back end. So now if you go to click to buy a reading, if you're on my personal website, it's just going to link you back to the SeaGoat Secrets website prior. And that's no difference. You guys can order, no problem. Everything is fine, but it's just me letting you know if it seems strange. It's like you click on it and it goes back to SeaGoat Secrets. It's just because I'm working it out. So yeah, from there, let's get into love. So Capricorn, when it comes to love for the month of September, let's look at the reflections from August. And I remember when I did the August reading, it was interesting because we saw things tied to a lack of communication. And this was interesting because for many of you, you commented that it was accurate to your scenario. And I'm laughing mainly because, well, most of August we were in a Mercury retrograde. So it makes sense, that there were communication issues, mainly because it was a Mercury retrograde that was in your 8th house. So in the darkest house, right? Well, 10th house is pretty dark, but Saturn is more dark than I would just say just the 10th house, because the 10th house it's like authority and things like that. The 8th house is, your I always call it your closet, right? The dark crevices of things, the Scorpio house. So yeah, when we're talking about love and what's going on when it comes to the Mercury, communication issues make sense. It doesn't mean that every year that happens, but just based on the transits, where we are, all the transformation, all the stuff going on in retrograde, communication issues it's no surprise. Mainly due to whatever it is that was blocking you guys, especially for those of you who are in more of a distant connection, meaning like you're not married or you're not in a serious long-term connection. If it was like, someone that you're interested in that you're not speaking to or something along those lines, or feeling like you're not catching the right fish, a lot of that has to do with, again, things that are karmic, bringing up karma. You guys were facing themes tied to love, themes that you could have been experiencing for a very long time, themes that it could have been sitting around for a while, that have been difficult to deal with, painful to deal with, just how do you say, patterns. Right? Patterns on repeat. So whatever was going on during that time, when it came to communication issues or whomever it was that you were dealing with, a lot of it was karmic. I'm not saying that the person themselves is karmic, but what you were playing out together was a karmic dynamic that you had been through prior. And that's a part of what was going on there. And for a lot of you guys as Capricorns, the communication issues can usually stem from some kind of power struggle or a great misunderstanding in terms of people not necessarily understanding you and your energy. So yeah, but during that time of either distance, or if you were in a long-term connection, you guys were kind of very difficult in terms of what it is that you wanted to say to each other. There's a lot of things that you were kind of keeping to yourselves potentially, knowing that you needed to have those more serious conversations, but kind of like avoiding them. All of this was good to put you in a space of introspection. You guys grew a lot during that month. You did when it comes to love. It forced you into looking at yourself on a different scale, diving deeper within yourself and what it is that you truly want for yourself and how you want to show up better, and also how you want other people to show up better for you as well, which is good. I know for love, it's been quite hard for a while because you guys have been dealing with karma for a while. And especially if you're single, it can be quite discouraging, I will say. But here we are going into September. So let's take a walk from August into September. I will say at the end of August, energy started to lighten up a little bit. So either you got communication or your perspective changed in terms of your partner or your potential partner. Or if you're just out there looking, you felt like kind of a shift, even ever so slightly in the air, tied to what it is that you can achieve in terms of the matters of love. So yeah, so when we're looking at the month of September now, we begin September first week. I know I said that with the love readings, I'm going to try to keep it more simple. So I will. I'll just break down the weeks very subtly. So I would say when it comes to week 1, what you can expect when it comes to love is surprise. So surprises that can be both negative or positive, especially because we're looking at Pluto going retrograde back into Capricorn. So this is, again, bringing up old themes, okay? But you are being asked to take a different approach. So old themes, different approach from you in specific, okay? And this is the big thing that's taking place when it comes to the first week, and also taking a softer approach, being a little bit more nurturing and strategic in terms of how you connect with other people, and deciding to be more receptive to others' energies than the way that maybe in the past you would have dealt with them. This is also asking you to put to bed old traumas as well, mainly because it's going to be bringing up those old things that created traumas for you right now and saying, does this really still need to weigh you down the way that it used to? Okay. When we're looking at week 2, conversations change. So we go from the deep, heavy, Leo Mercury, and now we're in a space of the Virgo Mercury. So definitely when we're looking at week 2, it's a good time for conversation, for understanding each other's perspectives, from thinking outside the box, being able to see things differently than the way you did before. That taking the mask off. I think the mask came in last month's reading, taking the mask off and being more honest about what you're thinking and feeling, vulnerabilities, being able to truly understand each other despite maybe masculine and feminine differences, in how you show up in the dynamic. Another thing as well is we're looking at the full moon eclipse happening in Pisces during that time as well. So this is really big if you're having language barriers with your partner as well, or the kind of barriers that, and language barriers don't necessarily have to mean, 2 different languages. It can also mean like 2 different modes of understanding, right? 2 different ways of communicating. For those of you who are single, this time when we're looking at week 2, this is good for you to start to want to venture out. Honestly, like if you've been dating within a certain social circle or within close quarters to where it is that you're looking to really venture out of the same old, and wanting to really shape a new horizon for yourself in terms of your dating pool and who you're actually interested in. Really looking for psychological, intellectual stimulation, deep thoughts, deep feelings, deeper conversations, being able to step out of the darkness of the 8th house energy, which can be quite sexual, right? So these these kind of darker bonds that people want to have with you, being able to step out of that and being able to feel a little bit more lighthearted when it comes to how you're connecting with people, and what you guys are talking about. So that's good in terms of if you're looking. Obviously, if you're dating, it brings about more conversation, you guys being able to end cycles tied to communication issues. If you're partnered, same thing. So when we're looking at the last section, I would say, I've been saying that the full moon eclipse is happening in the second week. It's not, it's happening in the third week. When we're looking at the last week of the month, we have a shift that is going to, deepen relationships. So if you guys found someone that you're interested in, you guys can see yourselves committing to each other by the end of September, really wanting to get serious with each other by the end of September, or prepare for that. Mainly because we have a lot of 10th house activation happening for you. Venus goes into deep, beautiful Scorpio. But Scorpio for you is your 11th house. Okay. So again, and if you are getting with someone, you want everybody to know. This is where you're taking social media photos. This is where you're being unapologetic about showing this person off, showing off your love, regardless of how anyone feels about it, especially because we're looking at Virgo. So some of you can find yourselves in connections with people that are different from you, meaning they're from spaces that are far away from where you are. Like I said, for those of you who are very single in your dating pool, you're venturing far away from it. So it can be different cultures, different places that you live, far reaching, whatever it may be, belief systems, religions. And this is a relationship that you find your connection in because you connected on a more philosophical level, and you're very happy to be here. You're happy to be in this union as karmic cycles come to closes or come to their close. September is big on karma. And then again, as we're looking at Pluto being in Capricorn, so finally being able to say, okay, karma has been playing out all year, and I've been seeing different karmic cycles come to subtle closes, some bigger closes, especially if you were paying attention. But when Pluto enters Capricorn, those closing doors are going to be the kind of closing doors that are so in your face that you will feel like, okay, now I feel like this is actually over. Whereas some of them could have been so subtle that if you're not so deep on the spiritual journey, it can like miss you. And especially because it wasn't the end, especially because it wasn't the entire end of the cycle. It could have just been, again, a soft closing door of a much bigger narrative, versus when we're looking at September, this really does close the full door on a love cycle. Doesn't mean you're all going to end the month, in love, but you could. But what it is you're ending the month actually done with your past. So whether it be healing from old traumas, whether it be being able to put to bed whatever it is that has happened, there are things that are going to be taking place, this great change and transformation that's going to be taking place, that you can finally end the month and say, okay, you are ready to create a new healed reality. So this is why it's really good and very serendipitous in terms of creating new relationships and wanting to show them off, regardless of how different this person may be from maybe other people's expectations of who it is that you would be with, or who it is that they thought you would choose. Another thing as well, if those of you who are seriously partnered, this is again the restoration, the great healing that you guys have been looking for, maybe wanting to travel with each other, wanting to go on a trip, wanting to show it off online, really show off the deepening of your connection. When Venus goes into Scorpio, it's a deep place, it's dark for everyone. But again, for you, it's your 11th house. So you're taking that depth and that deepening, of love and unions and that kind of, sometimes it can be obsessive, but that intensity, and you want to show it off. You want to show the world that you guys either made it or that you're going to make it, that this is your person and you've triumphed through whatever obstacles were in front of you. Or if you end it alone, you want to feel like, okay, now all of the karmic cycles of the past are over, and I am ready to get back out there, but in a way where you're very secure and very sure about who it is that you are and what it is that you're giving out. which is good. We also are looking at the last quarter moon in Cancer as well, and that is, again, putting an end to cycles tied to 7th house energy. So that's pretty much how you end the month. I would say that there may be a little bit of a snag near the end of the month during the last week when it comes to your communication styles and you just realizing how you need to change, how maybe you have been the problem, and how your behavior or your old patterns or the way that you think or how you communicate, it's a hyper awareness of the ways in which you need to change that in order to bring your relationships to higher places. So I would say that that's the energy that we're looking at for September for love. We're going to get into the reading now. All right, so Capricorn, here we are with your love reading. And right off the bat, this is interesting because we don't see any cups. No cups here. But we do see communication, which is interesting because I remember last month I mentioned that you guys may have been lingering or left August lingering when it comes to not getting communication from a lover or having a blockage in terms of communication with you and your current lover. But here we are in September and there's a lot of communication here. We've got the Knight of Swords, we've got the Two of Swords here. And even in your shadow, we've got another Swords card. It's the Five of Swords in reverse. And this is accompanied here with... it's Eloao, which is usually associated with the High Priestess, and the Five of Cutlass is the Five of Swords. So when it comes to the subject, more conversation. Let's get the Knight of Swords here with wanting to talk, right? Conversing more, emails, convo. And then we have here with the Two of Swords, next to that is the Dragonfly, being more lighthearted, things coming to light. So in a very straightforward way, you're going to talk. Especially for you guys who are singles, who have been waiting on some kind of, great conversation or some kind of communication, who are lingering from last month. Or for you guys who are partnered again, who need to get a lot of things out to move things forward. So this is good. I like this. Where there is conversation, there aren't any cups here, but where there is conversation, there is movement, fast movement too. The Knight of Cups is not just, Knight of Swords is not just conversation. It's fast conversation. It's let's get this out. Let's talk. Let's do this. Right. But it's also sitting here with this Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is about trusting one's intuition, not trusting what it is that you see. But with these both being clarified by two very light-hearted energies, it's almost like whatever it is that's going on here, it's allowing yourself to listen. But not just listen, but close your eyes and listen, okay? And when I say close your eyes and listen, clearly things have taken place here, right? Whatever has happened, obstacles, difficulties, has led you to where it is that you are. Or for those of you, I have to be honest when I say this feels like people that are either already involved or this is a lingering situation. I know normally I try to transform the messages or transfer them. This could also be meeting new individuals. Okay, so the paradigm could be meeting new individuals that you're talking to. So for those of you who are single, it could just be you're talking to a lot of people. It's like a lot of people on the radar. You're feeling more lighthearted. You're feeling more energetic. And you could also be changing your type, changing your archetype of what it is that you thought you were attracted to or interested in. You could see yourself going through that shift this month for those of you who are deep singles, doing less looking and more feeling, more deep listening. And your energy is feeling more lighthearted. You're feeling less wounded, right? Less confused. So it's great because this is a lot of, you may be talking to this person, that person. This kind of intellectual stimulation is good for bringing about the kind of connections that serve in a way that is more lighthearted, especially when we're looking at healing too. There's There's a healed version of you that is sitting in the month of September, which is nice. So whether you're pulling in new people to you that you really feel like you can have an intellectual match with, you know, less eyes, more ears. For those of you who are a partner, long-term partner, it's no more people hiding how it is that they feel or separating from how it is that they feel, but being able to really get things out, you know, this is what's going on. This is how I'm feeling. This is what's on my mind, you know, less judgment. And for those of you who are in kind of more of what we were talking about last month, which is these kind of strained, distant type situations, the block is removed. When we look at the advice, we've got visions of life beyond death, and this is diving for light. So this is interesting again, because we see a death in terms of how things used to be and bringing about a new paradigm, a new way of existing when it comes to love, more lighthearted approach. Diving for light is asking you to go into the space that is just more positive. In general, this feels like a breath of fresh air. The energy just feels lighter. It feels like there is more movement here. Some of you, visions of life beyond death, again, can be getting back out there or restoring something that once died, but again, looking at it from a different angle, a more positive angle. In your shadow, we've got the, you know, like we said, we have the 5 of Cutlass in reverse, and this is here with, allow. And the biggest worry, especially when we're talking about a major arcana in your shadow, is the mystery, what it is that you don't know. And in a way, that 5 of Cutlass, even though you wouldn't necessarily want a conflict, some of you could be dealing with situations where there can be a lot of things that are being said, but then there also could be things that are not, right? Like as if certain things are elusive. Some of you could be feeling a little bit scrappy for a specific reason, for something in particular. If you're rekindling something, it could mean that you're talking about everything but the issue at hand. And the worry is that you kind of want to push, right? But you're afraid of pushing because you don't know what's underneath the surface, as if a lot of things are elusive. When we go into your healing points, we've got Mandala of the Heart and Lesya. So let's go into Mandala first and foremost. Mandala is an earth energy. Sometimes aspects of our life fall apart or don't go to plan. This is so that they can come back together in a beautiful way. Trust in the goodness and in the inevitable blessing of your destiny falling into place. Do not trust your fears, but put your faith in the love of your heart. A heartfelt wish is going to manifest. That's very straightforward in terms of love. Especially, like I said, for those of you who have been strained, and then you guys are getting back together, you're talking again, you're understanding things again, or your paradigm is shifted. What you're interested in now, the people are different, and that energy is better. It's like whatever it is that has died has made room for what it is that is new. This lighter, more easy, more fluid type of energy, which is nice. It's very nice. And that helps you step out of the fear of what you feel like you don't know. And also on a very blunt level, some of you can be afraid of just fighting altogether, you know, what sits in the distance. And so in terms of last year, we got there's a gentler way to proceed and obtain the same or even greater effect. Tame the wild, frenzied workings of your mind by grounding yourself with beauty, pleasure, and grace. Violence and its negative effects shall be overcome and healed through feminine gentleness and inner spiritual strength. This oracle is a sign of great future happiness. Again, beautiful. It's just it's all just very light, you know? It's like, and this gentle feminine energy applies again to the masculine. And I think this came up in one of the other monthly readings. You're okay. Especially for you guys who are coupled. You're all right, you know? You've made it. Things are better. They're lighter. It's nicer. It happens so that it can come back together in a better way. This is really, really big for you guys who are dealing with reconciliations, restoring connections. And especially that erases what's going on with this Five of Swords in reverse kind of energy. And the fear of what it is that you don't know. It's like there's a gentler, softer, kinder way to approach this. It's being more lighthearted, more receptive, more gentle in the way you speak to one another too. And again, for you guys who are very single, where you're starting new connections, you're different. You're showing up in them differently, and you're also aligning with people who are different. Better intellectual understandings, a lighthearted energy, not so heavy. Not that runner, not the difficult. So I was going to say runner chaser because last month that came up. But not these difficult, heavy kind of chains tied to love. But again, a nice breath of fresh air. This is nice. It's nice. So at the bottom of the decks, I'm a little concerned here. We've got Bath Call at the bottom of the healing deck. And this is all about eschewing complicated explanations. This is a fire energy. So on the deck, we've got an earth and a water energy. And it ends here with fire. Eschew complicated explanations as you seek the simplicity of the deepest truth of your heart. Gently but firmly cast aside that which does not resonate as being true for your heart. Focus upon and speak from a higher spiritual perspective. All prayers are answered at the perfect time and in the perfect way. You have a beautiful, powerful voice that can foster healing and wisdom. Yeah, those anxieties, right? The fear of what it is that you don't know. You can get what it is that you desire, but take a gentler approach. Going about it the way you did it in the past is not going to serve you. Don't overthink it. What's interesting is at the bottom of the deck, when it comes to the clarification, we've got that mask again that showed up last month, which is gaslighting, not showing true feelings. So that makes me a little concerned in terms of this beautiful, talking, conversing, being more lighthearted, but there are still things that are not necessarily being said. There are still things that are being held back, which also explains why you are in this kind of worried space that's going on here. It's like there's a lot being said, but then there are certain things that are not. At the bottom of the tarot, we've got the Five of Pentacles. That's worrisome. That's looking at things like abandonment. But in this case, it's stepping out of that, right? So it could be that you're discussing or again addressing what brought you there. What does it mean to get out of that energy? Stepping out of the Five of Pentacles energy, kind of rushing out of it. At the bottom of the shadow deck, we got the Ten of Cowrie in reverse. So yeah, back to especially for those of you guys who are partnered too, like back to that feeling of worrying that your stability is going to crumble or this isn't going to lead to a serious commitment. Worried about what it is that you don't know. At the bottom of advice, we have relax the hold of darkness and be at cause, though. And underneath that, we saw inner trust. But when we look at relax the hold of darkness and be at cause, it's kind of like Bath Call in a sense of separating from that space of anxiety. What it is that you want for yourself, you can speak it into existence. And so it's interesting that we're looking at something saying speaking into existence when we have so much going on tied to communication and what is being said. Focus on what is being said because you can step out of that Five of Pentacles energy. This month is about you pushing out of that space of abandonment, that space of loneliness, that space of longing, right? It's getting out of that energy, firing out of it, especially with the Knight of Swords, rushing completely out of it. With great listening and communication and a more lighthearted energy. Let's get some clarity. clarity. Where it is that you need to be. What is that you need to be feeling? All right, so clarity. Where is it that you need to be? What is it that you need to be feeling? Ooh, wow. That's nice. We like that. We like that a lot. All right. Yeah, so where is it that you need to be is the Seven of Cups. Again, for you singles, it's a hyper awareness of the beautiful opportunities that are in front of you. It's okay if you're talking to a lot of people, assess them, break them down, be sure of who it is that you want. It's like, again, this it's like as the energy has shifted, as this new life is showing up, because all of the things that you've gone through in the past, or the difficult scenarios that you've been in, now you're in a new one. And it's a softer, gentler, kinder kind of energy. So be aware of the options that are in front of you. Enjoy it, enjoy the people, enjoy the new paradigm. When it comes to you guys who are dealing with like situations or in your long-term relationships, is being aware of the possibilities. The Seven of Cups is a nice energy because it can be an energy of great abundance in terms of there being so many things on the horizon, right? There are a lot of different ways that this can manifest. There are a lot of different ways that this connection can grow. And it's seeing that. And of course, you need to be in the Queen of Cups energy. I love that. Especially when we're talking about softer, gentler energy. And this goes for you masculine in this as well, a softer, gentler approach. Not so aggressive, not so fearful. Just more open, very emotionally receptive. And how is it that you need to be feeling as the beautiful lovers? This is very triumphant in terms of an energy. It's nice. It's like feeling very clear in terms of love. It's like, it's very straightforward. It's, you want to connect. You want love. You want to be in love. Especially for you guys who are healing your relationships. Things that fell apart that are back together. It's like so aware of the ways in which you guys can come together again. You can create a new paradigm in terms of each other. It can be different now. Focus on that connection. And the beautiful thing about the lovers is obviously it is, the divine card tied to the idea of love. And to see it in a love reading is wonderful. But the thing about it is it's understanding this like yin and yang dynamic as well. I like to call it like the baby with the bathwater kind of energy, because there's so much that goes on in terms of the lovers. The merger between the Adam and the Eve and all of the things in between. And so wherever it is that you have been, especially again for you guys who are restoring connections, wherever it is that you have been, it's understanding to take that and allow it to strengthen the energy you want to be together. And as long as the desire to be together is at the core, then that union can bring itself forward because of that. That is the goal. That is the focus, together. And this is really great in terms of that. And this emotional openness is wonderful. Yeah, it's like gentler, more nurturing, more lighthearted. It's just, this is very nice. Allow yourself to be receptive to things being different. I like this. So that's what I've got for you guys. I love you. Ciao.